Most online memberships predominantly consist of a combination of the three C's: content, coaching, and community. And typically, it's the content that is the vehicle for your value proposition. And it's often the thing that people judge the ongoing value of your membership by, and then make the decision about sticking around based on that content that's coming out. So how do you balance delivering value to your members with ensuring that you avoid overwhelm? That's what we're going to talk about today, and I'm going to share my top tips on how to avoid overwhelm in just a sec. All right, so most memberships are judged in terms of their value proposition on the content that they provide. But where is the line between delivering ongoing value and eliminating overwhelm? Because overwhelm can be a big problem for memberships. When your members are overwhelmed, they're more likely to slip behind. And when they slip behind, they're more likely to ultimately stop being a long-term member. So it's important to factor the prevention of overwhelm into your content strategy. Too much content feels a little like running on a treadmill that is constantly getting faster. But too little content, and your members may feel that it's not worth paying you on an ongoing basis. There are three different types of membership overwhelm that I want to talk about. First, you have content overwhelm, which is mostly what we've been talking about so far. When people feel that there's too much content and that it's being released too frequently. So your new members, they have no clear idea of where to start, when to complete a course or tutorial, which piece of content is the best one, or the order in which they need to consume your content. They're just dropped into a bottomless pit of content that on the surface might look like they're getting a great deal, but ultimately, if they can't figure out how to use it, it's going to overwhelm them. So that's the first and the most common type of overwhelm: content overwhelm. The second type of overwhelm is engagement overwhelm. So this is where you as a membership owner demand too high a level of engagement from your members. So this could be the amount of participatory content that you create. If you're using gamification that rewards people for logging in every day, or if the main thing you deliver in your membership is a live challenge and you do one every week and people have to show up daily, or they have to come to a huge volume of live calls, you're asking a lot of them. You're asking them to prioritize you heavily each and every day or each and every week. And often this comes from a misunderstanding or a lack of appreciation for how much time that your members have. You can also get engagement overwhelm within your community. So again, if there's lots going on in your community, if it feels like drinking from a fire hose every time someone goes in there, then that can be overwhelming. Similarly, communication can lead to engagement overwhelm, where you're emailing and you're messaging your members too often, multiple times a day. They're getting constant notifications on their phone. That's going to lead to engagement overwhelm. So that's the second type of overwhelm. The third is technical overwhelm. So if your website is difficult to use, if it has a really high technical barrier, it's just laid out poorly, or the navigation's badly designed. Technical overwhelm can also come if people have to log into multiple different websites. So if you've got a membership where you've got your main site where some things are delivered and where they manage billing, and then there's a different website they need to log into in order to access courses, and then there's a Facebook group they need to access in order to get into the community. Again, that's a lot of technical hurdles, a lot of pieces of the puzzle that can lead to that technical overwhelm. So those are the three types of overwhelm that we're tackling here: content overwhelm, engagement overwhelm, and technical overwhelm. There's four main ways to tackle it. We call these the 4 S's of overwhelm combating. All right. So they are system, structure, scheduling, and segmentation. First off, let's talk about systems. So the system is the technical side of things. The platforms that you choose for delivering your membership content and running your community are key. They play a very big role in helping to avoid overwhelm. This is why we often say that we're not a fan of using Facebook groups for the paid member community, because the level of activity in there can actually be overwhelming. You tend to get a higher quantity of activity and a bit less quality. Again, if you have your content housed on your main website, but your community is over on Facebook, or it's in a Slack channel, or it's using a platform like Mighty Network, so you're asking people to log into 2 different locations, again, that can lead to overwhelm. It's better to have everything under one roof. The more platforms your members have to juggle, the more URLs they need to save, the more login details they need to save, the more they need to learn the different systems they've got to use, and ultimately the more confusing it can be for them to piece everything together. And that can all add up to a big old pile of overwhelm that can lead to them being less likely to stick around. So on the system side of things, keeping everything simple and wherever possible, trying to keep things under one roof can help in a big way. The second S is structure. So this largely relates to the way in which you structure and deliver your content. We're big fans of using roadmap. So a guided learning path or a roadmap that can be utilized to help people navigate through your content and make progress towards a particular outcome. So if your membership helps people get from A to B, B to C, C to D, and so on, you might have a whole bunch of different courses that can be studied individually. But if you can provide a specific structure, a curriculum, a roadmap that takes people step by step through the material that's inside your membership, then that is going to be far more helpful to that person, because it helps to eliminate the guesswork. You're giving them that guided pathway, and you're structuring your content in a way that makes sense and makes it easy for members to focus on the right things at the right time. So if you have a lot of content, it's your responsibility as a membership owner to provide a clear starting point within your content, a clear pathway for people to get involved in your community. If you have people joining at different levels or with different interests at different places in their journey, then you should be taking steps to identify what is the best piece of content for them to start with. Your member onboarding process should be set up to accommodate this, to set up your members in the best possible way to succeed. So ideally, that onboarding process for new members should include some prompts for getting started with your content. It should include some prompts for getting started in the community, for introducing themselves, things like that. Great ways to get people involved and get them started in a way that's clear, it's direct, it eliminates the guesswork, it avoids just leaving them to their own devices, and it ultimately reduces potential overwhelm. So make sure you're taking care of members in those initial stages of their time with you. The next S is scheduling. So this relates to your content and the consistency with which you are adding that new content into your membership. Again, it is that fine balance between adding enough value for people to feel your membership is worth what they're paying you month on month, year on year, while also ensuring that you're not just giving them stuff for the sake of it. You're not just overloading them with new content. In terms of your ongoing content, we generally recommend releasing no more than 1 new piece of content per week to your membership. Any more than that, and you're definitely getting into overwhelm territory. If you can build up a regular, reliable schedule, then the addition of this new content won't feel sporadic. It won't feel chaotic. It won't feel like you're just randomly hurling stuff at them, which can lead to anxiety, which can lead to overwhelm. Predictability is a great tonic for overwhelm. And when it comes to the content itself, quality is far more important than quantity. If you want someone to pay you on an ongoing basis, you need to deliver value on an ongoing basis. So don't mistake this for a numbers game. Ultimately, delivering value isn't about putting out the most content in your market. It's about putting out the most valuable content in your market. And if you're publishing reams of content every week, the quality will inevitably suffer, and that's even worse. The next S is segmentation. Identifying key segments within your member base in terms of where members are in their journey. So if your mission is to help people get from A to Z, then is someone at B, is someone at G, is someone at M? Where are they in the actual journey? Where their competencies are. So if you're in an industry that is competency based, so beginner, intermediate, advanced, it might be educational levels. So it could be high school, college, university, postgrad. That kind of competency can form the basis for segments where you can ring fence particular demographics within your audience based on where they are in the process, what their needs are, and what they might best benefit from in terms of the content that you recommend to them. Identifying those segments and then incorporating it into your strategy will help you to structure and deliver your content according to your audience's needs. You get to meet them where they are. So you're not giving expert level content to beginners, and you're not giving beginner level basics to people who are masters of a particular topic. So your beginners don't get overwhelmed, your experts don't get underwhelmed. You can allow your members to self-segment themselves through surveys. So when someone joins your membership, you can actually ask them to choose where are they at, what level are they at, what is their experience level, their understanding, their competency, and then based on that you can fit them in to certain profiles in your membership that can then determine what recommendations are made. So those are the 4 S's that will help you to tackle the main types of overwhelm that you'll often experience in a membership.